Hi everybody, welcome. Welcome. We're gonna run the countdown. I'm gonna go grab a drink and we'll be right back.
I live in debt, I'll die indebted to your hope. Born again, I swear I wouldn't breathe a word. If you could find me, take me back and make me whole. We're a circus, ruin my body with your corpse. So can you help me out?
Hi everybody, welcome back to another crafty mess where we talk about the crazy stuff that's been happening on social media, pop culture, the news, and then we craft and chat and waste some time online here. How is everyone doing? Mel, what are you crafting?
I'm still doing my scarf. Honestly, I haven't touched it since the last streaming, so
Which was like 3 weeks ago.
yeah, right.
Oh, is that
I mean
Bo?
the holidays. Yes, well, that's whiskey right there,
Oh, it's
and then
whiskey.
that's
Okay, there's
Bo.
Bo.
Yeah,
Oh, they're
but
both
they're
there. Oh,
crazy. Yeah,
oh,
they're
they're going
crazy
well.
together. They like run around, but I have three foster kittens at my place,
Uh-huh.
and Bo's just tortures them, so like whacks them and
Oh,
everything. So yeah, so I bring him over here. So that I mean, at least Whiskey has company too. But yeah, they fight.
mm-hmm.
They like wrestle a lot.
Oh, um,
What are you doing?
that's cute.
That looks like a
Um,
oh,
so Grudy has her ugly Christmas sweater party at
nice.
her school next Friday, and I can't
Yeah.
find an ugly Christmas sweater for the life of me because it's all bought out. So I'm just gonna make one.
Oh,
Um,
you're so
and
good.
and I mean, it's just probably me gonna. I'm probably just gonna end up hot gluing a bunch of stuff because it is an ugly Christmas sweater. Actually, some of the ugly Christmas sweaters are cute, which is the
Yeah.
irony of it. So, but yeah, that's what I'm gonna whip up really quick here, is trying to get
Okay.
the general shape of that for her. Yeah. Okay. So we got a couple of disclaimers here. The first one is these are just our opinions. Obviously, there's going to be articles and stuff out there if you guys want to look at it, but we do want to just talk about the stuff that's been happening, what some of our thoughts are.
Yes,
And yeah,
and we do not condone any type of harassment. So if you guys have any questions or whatnot, feel free to comment below. But please do not harass anybody outside of this. This is just for us to have an open conversation, dialogue of like what's going on in pop culture and our thoughts and opinions on it.
yes. So yeah, I feel like a lot has been happening on the news. I think a lot of the stuff is like a little bit too dark, and I try to not consume the dark
Mm,
stuff.
yes.
However, there's some lighter stuff that we Mel usually tend to pick out pretty well.
Yes.
Um, and I
Well, can
think
we
I'm
also
gonna.
talk about can we talk about the latest ruling, the
Yeah, I do
Texas?
want to talk about.
Yes.
Well, actually, no. You tell me about that because I just glossed over it this morning.
Yeah, no, I just glossed over it too, but like yeah,
Oh,
it's the Supreme Court ruled it unconstitutional to have
yes.
that in place. So thank God, but there are other so apparently they didn't put any type of injunction on it, so there could be other suits that or like possibly could be coming forward. But as of right now, yeah, that is unconstitutional. So no, thank God.
I just.
Oh,
Oh, your poor babies are crying.
I know. They're
I
literally,
love.
you can see them in the background. Like, Bo just does this like weird screaming sound.
He's like,
And then Whiskey's just like, poor girl.
oh, I love it because like Branch does the same thing too. He just cries like
Yeah.
that. And
Oh
Rocket,
my
he doesn't
gosh.
meow at all. He's like, "Grr." Like he tries to
No,
roar.
this one's a menacing, like, come on. See? It's like, I'm gonna whine right now until I'm ready to pounce. So like, they're
It's
crazy.
so cute.
Yeah. So
But
yeah, what do you think of it? Are you happy? Thank God.
I don't know if I think there's a couple of emotions. The first one is what a waste of time. like like it should have been
Tell
a
me about
thing.
it. Tell me about it.
Um and I'm starting to feel like it was this thing that someone wanted to push just to see how far they could, and it got pretty far. And now it's like, okay, the people who are kind of like apathetic about it, or like, oh, whoa, we can't just let this go, right? So then they pounce, and then it got obviously reversed. So it's that thing where it's like me letting my kid just do whatever they want, and then all of a sudden they do something really bad, and then I come in and I'm like, okay, you can't do that. And
Right.
it's yeah, it's like one of, and it's like, okay, maybe we should all be more diligent going forward, because you don't know when there's someone out there that's going to challenge our rights, and I think apathy is such a huge part of it, where we're just like, oh, I don't care, it's not going to happen to me, it's never going to happen. And I think that's one of those things where it's proven that, oh, dude, things like this could actually happen, and we should be more alert. That's the first thing. The second thing was, I'm not surprised that it got reversed. Which goes to the first case, is apathy, where it's just like, oh, I don't think it's gonna be. It's very conflicting. I'm glad. I am so glad that like it's not law, because that's silly, and it's taking us back so many steps.
Oh my God, yes.
But at the same time, I'm like, what a waste of time. Like all the effort and energy that went into this thing that shouldn't have been a thing, But there we are. So that's my whole thing. The lady, the Roe versus Wade, she actually lives in the suburbs of Houston. And I don't know if I told you this, and it was interesting because because in my mind, when I heard about the whole Roe versus Wade case, I just think, oh, she must have been, this freedom, this fighter, this feminist, this, strong-willed woman that wanted to make change in the world. Like in my mind, I was thinking of like the same energy as like Michelle Obama, right? Just strong. And then I looked her up, and she does not match that same vibe. She became a hero out of circumstances. Like she wanted to, she didn't want her to carry her pregnancy, and this other lawyer found this opportunity to build a case to make this whole thing. It wasn't like she was this huge, I'm going to fight for women's rights. I think that came after, as all of that started happening, And it's just, I don't know. It's one of those things where like, don't meet your heroes, otherwise you'll be disappointed.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but like a lot, like with a lot of things, it's usually it's typically not started for as a whole. You know what I mean? Like it's usually a selfish thing, but then it's like better for everybody involved.
No, I agree. It's 100% better for everyone, and I think I'm not gonna take away the credit, everything that came from that case. I will have to say that there was an article that she said that she's just like, even though she is kind of like the face of pro-choice, pretty much. She never asked to be the face of pro-choice,
Right.
and she actually felt even used by the lawyer to be the face of pro-choice too. So it's not like it was just her being taken advantage of on the other side as well.
Interesting.
And it's very nuanced, and it's one of those things where like, I guess sometimes naivety is ignorance is bliss, because you do romanticize some of these stories and stuff, and that's what I think where I'm coming from is like, it takes away some of the rose-colored lenses of what you think these movements are, and that could be dangerous too. So I don't know. Anyways,
well, there's always like behind every history, right? There's always the good and bad. We don't know all the story. We don't know like every little detail that happens until you're actually, going more into it.
Like MLK, I guess there's some whispering.
I heard some stuff. Right.
Yeah, but it doesn't negate.
It doesn't take away from. It doesn't take away from like the actual impact that he still has within the Black community.
But then on an individualistic level, it also it really is conflicting for me too, because it's just like, well, you also like didn't keep a promise to certain people that are close to you, and so that's very conflicting. And so like at what, and I guess the main question is at what point do you remove the project from the individual, right? Like same with Michael Jackson, like I love his music, but dang, that's very hard, like, and then you get to that territory and it's very complex. And I think that's just one of those like human nature thing where like, I don't know, it comes down to the individual, and I think it comes down to the individual consuming it.
Right.
Okay, let's see. Hello, Ashley. She's here. I gotta go, but I'll catch on the episode later. And have a good weekend and happy holiday. Bye. Okay. Okay, so then the next story, let's get this one out of the way because I don't want to end on a dark note with this one.
Okay.
The Josh Duggar stuff.
Yep. It's official. He is serving prison.
Yes. And I guess what I was going to say about, so I don't know if this is accurate, but like, share window. Here we go. Let's see if I can share the, a Chrome tab. Here we go. I don't know if this is accurate, but like when you are sentenced, oh no thanks, I don't want to shop holiday gifts. When you are sentenced, you only serve a particular amount of time, right? Like you don't serve all of it.
Didn't they say 10? Oh, right, because sometimes you could appeal the sentence.
Yeah. So like, okay, let's say, I mean, the appeal innocence is, let's say like he thinks he's definitely not guilty. I think that's different. But like, when you serve, like when they tell you that you have to go to jail for 20 years, you only serve like 50% of that time, and then you go on probation. And then they kind of do all of that, right? And then they're like, okay,
but
finally.
Don't they say, oh, if you have, like, you could get out early for best behavior too?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah,
that's what I meant. Like, you only depending on what states, like it's 50% is the time you serve, and you can get out on good behavior and stuff. And so like, let's say he does get out on good behavior, right? And that means that he will only, I don't know what the law is over there for him, like let's say it's 50%, right? And he comes out in like 10 years. What happens 10 years now? Like what, he's in his 30s, 40s? I mean, he'll still be like 50. I mean, he could still,
he's gonna be listed. Isn't he gonna be listed in the database?
Yeah, just because you're listed doesn't mean like you can't go out and like still snatch a kid.
Yeah, I suppose.
Like I think that's my thing. It's just like yeah, just because you're listed, like there's a couple of people that are listed around my neighborhood. I would not let Grudy walk near any of those homes. I don't want to be anywhere near there. So it's just one of those things where like, should we let them out? Even though, look, I'm for rehabilitation, but I think this case is special because he comes from a family with a lot of means and a lot of wealth and a lot of influence in certain like communities of his life. So I just think that if he doesn't get let out, or if they're going to appeal and all that stuff, like what that would look like, and if people, would consider putting poster signs around the house that, hey, look, a dangerous person lives here,
Right.
I don't know. I think that for me, because, you hear these stories about like someone who got charged of like sexual assault gets let out like in 4 or 5 years, and they go on a massive murder rampage, I think it's something that like mental health care providers should be cognizant about when they release him. Because
I mean, still he's gonna be on probation, so at least he will still be under watchful eyes for a bit.
Cheryl says, oh, hi Cheryl. Cheryl said it makes him easier to find if something happens. That is also true too. At least now we know that he does have a history, but it's just, I just can't imagine going to jail for 10-15 years and coming out being more mentally stable because clearly he has something going on for him to want to engage in that activity. Then to go into jail, suffer more trauma, and then come out even more traumatized. I don't think he's going to
Well,
be okay, and I think he's
the
going to probably act
whole
out.
the
Go ahead.
whole thing about like being in prison was you have that much time to really think about what you and so if he was good, like first of all, if he is let out for best behavior early, hopefully that meant that he like kept his head down, he like
Yeah,
worked through things or whatever. Like let's just hope that I don't know. I know we don't have a lot of faith in the prison system, but that's
yeah.
the whole point of like why people are jailed or whatever. It's just so that they have that much time to think about what they've done and hopefully repent.
Um, yeah. I guess like for me, it's just I know that not I know, but like I see how um, those systems are set up, and it's set up
Mm-hmm.
for you to fail essentially. I mean, he might not even
Yeah.
be let out on good behavior because it's set up for you to fail. I mean, if you think about like the violence that happens in prison, the sexual
Oh
assault that
yeah.
happen in prison, the constant anxiety and fear of like not the trope of like don't bend over and pick up the soap when you're in the shower, like there's a reason
Also,
why. Go ahead.
aren't child molesters like from what I've heard in the past? I don't know if it's true. Don't they get it worse in prison?
Yeah, I think he might be in a protected facility because yes,
Oh, okay.
they probably most likely will get killed or
Yeah.
stuff like that. So he might be in a more confined area. But that's the thing. Let's say
Mm.
he is in a much more confined area, then that will also mentally mess with you because loneliness is like
Yeah.
one of the worst thing that you can do to a human mind.
Yeah.
So like I'm just saying that like you incarcerate him for 10 years, he's not going to come out okay. He's actually probably going to come out worse than he went in. Let's
Mm.
see, our
Mm.
rehabilitation isn't good in the US. I think there needs
I
to be
agree.
more focus on psych. Yes, I 100%
Yes.
agree. um and oh, Bunny Sarah, she's
Oh,
here. Okay.
hello.
Oh yeah, I have been wondering about what prisons are thought to be for in the US. I'm in Mexico, and the name of prisons here is Center for Social Rehabilitation. So this place is
Ah.
supposed to help. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess it just depends on like well, here's another thing about prisons is that some of them are privately owned too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like a public funding thing, and the way they rank how many inmates are in and how many of them are doing good. It's very political too.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that anyone who was caught with marijuana should most likely be let out of jail because
Yeah, my cousin, this was like more than 10 years ago, like at least 20 years ago, and he got sentenced the worst just for not
yeah,
ratting out the person who supplied,
yeah, yeah.
marijuana at the time. Like, but that was like nothing. Now it's like, most places already like it's all legal and stuff like that. So that was such a like terrible thing, terrible sentence
Yeah,
he did.
yeah, like anyone who's been locked up or have any kind of record with anything that has to do with marijuana,
That
I
should have been
think
expunged.
exactly. I definitely think that's a hard expunge for me.
Yep.
And it's such a drain on the system. Like we have killers, we have
Hmm.
people who are hurting children, and if so, and if you're gonna have a little doobie or whatever, like it's whatever. Most people are doing it these days. It's so normalized now.
I know.
We need to correct that for sure. So then we're not overcrowding the prison system, and then we can have
Yeah.
actual good funding for you know effective rehabilitation. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, that's me ranting on that. I think I watched way too many like in a prison documentary, and I like
probably.
and even like the male. I think what breaks my heart is like hearing about like the male sexual assault that happens in prison.
Yeah.
That's just like it just Can you? So I was listening to this podcast about this kid who said that he was in such a bad situation where he was just driving drunk, and then he was just like being obnoxious. So they put him in jail, and then it was a holiday, so he stayed there longer. And then there was like a
Oh
form
no.
switch up, so he ended up in prison. And while he was in prison, he was there for about 6 months or something, and he said he was terrified because
Holy
he
crap,
spent,
6
yeah,
months?
yeah, and he was 20 at the time, and he said he was terrified
Oh
because
my
this was in
God.
California. It was one of the I forgot which prison this was, but it was one of the um violently ranked prison systems,
Oh my
and
God.
he was terrified. He said it was so bad that like the first 3 weeks he didn't sleep, and yeah, because he didn't know who was gonna shank him. He didn't know who was gonna like sexually assault him.
Oh
And
my goodness.
he said that he came out of that with so much PTSD that he's just
Oh
now constantly in
no.
therapy because it's like feeling like you're in a war zone,
Do
but
you
no
think the
one is on
female
your side.
prison, you think the female prison system, like I don't know if it's any better, but I wonder if it's like less like that, like the male prison,
Yeah, like less
like
violent.
less violent.
Yeah, I want to say
Have
I
you
think
heard any differently?
you know what? I don't, because like when I watch like the female ones, they
Mm-hmm.
don't seem to be as aggressive like
Okay.
as the male prisons, right? What I do see
Mm-hmm.
that there's a lot of
Ah,
scheming that happens. So
so there's a
you'll
lot of
definitely,
cattiness in one
yeah,
room.
yes. Yeah, and you'll see like, women's, trading things with like some of the officers to get certain things. It's very similar. It's not
Ah,
like, I'm not saying like orange is the new black, but it's a little bit more
yeah.
scheming. Um and I have, and I have heard of and seen on the docus that like they will hook up with their officers and
Mm,
things like that too to get certain things, or they'll throw other
yeah.
women on the bus. But I mean, obviously fights still do break out. There's still sexual violence that can happen as well.
Yeah.
But it's not as much as with men,
Yeah.
but I mean, the thing is that like, sexual assault with men that goes unreported, especially in prison systems. And it's like, and then
Yeah.
you talk about trans women who are forced to be in the male prison
Oh
system.
no.
Oh, that guts me so much. Like I can't even
Oh
imagine the
no.
horror there. Okay,
Yeah.
let's see. But Bunny says, I think the whole objective and philosophy behind prison needs to be analyzed. I agree. There should be different levels of rehabilitation or counseling or something. I
Yeah.
agree as well. I actually knew a girl who went to college, and she is a psych major, and her whole thing was she wanted to be a psychiatrist in the prison systems, but she said
Mm-hmm.
that sometimes it was too stressful for her because it was when you go there as a female, it's like, it feels dangerous, right?
Yeah.
And then she had to quit because it was just too much.
Oh
But
yeah.
that's the thing, is like, even if you want to help, like at what point can you help until you're like, all right, look, my life is starting to get in danger, I can't be a part of this anymore. And that also is
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah.
But I also understand. I also understand too. There's good people who do want to help, but after a while it becomes too much. But you know what? Josh Duggar, let's see. We'll keep an eye on him 10 years from now and see what's up. Who knows? He might get out
Mm-hmm.
even sooner than that. Okie dokie. Next story. What do
Should
we
we talk
have
about the
next?
Chanel Advent calendar? Since we're approaching
Uh,
holiday.
Off topic, the chat
Happy to end it.
box covers chaos crafting. Oh
Oh, like
yeah.
the
Oh yeah. Sometimes I pull the chat box up and down. Sorry about that, Cheryl. Yeah. Yeah, it pops up and down. Okay, so let's do the next story. Let's see if I can pull up the other screen here.
Chanel.
You want to do the Chanel one? So Chanel offered an apology, which is interesting. Um,
There are a
how do
lot
I
of
do this?
mixed opinions over this. on one hand, a lot of people some people were saying, they were defending Chanel, be like, okay, well, literally, they only give out a limited amount, like over 800 some, of these were made, and only they're giving out to like specific clientele.
Mm-hmm.
However, the people who were able to get a hand on those boxes were
Mm-hmm.
not very happy with the items that are in it.
Mm-hmm.
And this box is worth over $800. Like there were some
Um,
that was like a bracelet or like stickers or mini perfumes, which that won't be too bad. But I've seen
well,
other TikTok videos
wait, wait,
of
wait. Let's
other,
backtrack really quick. I don't
yeah,
think we talked. Okay, let's backtrack really quick. So, um, basically, it's Chanel came out with an advent calendar that they're selling for $800, and only a set of people can get their hands on it, right? And then this
right,
story
right.
is that the people who got their hands on it are now reviewing what's in the advent calendar, and those items do not match up to the $800 price,
They
right?
were not happy. Yes.
Okay. All right, now go ahead. Go ahead. I just had to
And no,
recap
it's
that.
fine. And
Okay.
then the fact is that there were other TikTok videos I've seen that had other like designers um, advent boxes, and like say for one of them was like a Jimmy Choo advent box, and it was the literally has a pair of like, I didn't see the whole thing, but one of the box had Jimmy Choo shoes, which is a lot more than what, you know what I mean, like that's
Mm-hmm.
pretty decent to uncover. Or there's another one that has like an ornament, which I think that would be nice too. The Louis Vuitton one has like an ornament. So, so the whole thing with Chanel, after the whole thing went down with the stuff, instead of actually issuing an apology right away, they blocked the person who made that TikTok video, and then they closed down their TikTok account. So, in a sense, to me, I was like, okay, well, that's not the appropriate way to handle that situation. Like having an apology weeks later is not good either. You know, it doesn't bode well with them. Um, I don't know, but yeah, there are other people who do like Chanel and are who are more purchasing it for a collector's item. To me, I think it's a waste of money to do that. You might as well just get a wallet if that's the case. But and then they just I don't know, they just kind of say, oh, it's Chanel. They just chalk it up to the brand name. But you and I both know that if you don't buy the actual item, then they can't hike up the prices the way it is, because the brand is the way it is because people are still buying it, you know?
Um, I agree. I
And
remember.
let's talk. I
So
mean, yeah, go ahead.
no, no, no. I agree. I mean, like when you sent me the story, the first thing is I laughed because I was just
Yeah,
like, this is the hill that people are gonna die in because they're not gonna die on because it's just like you got crap because you paid for a brand, and the reason why this brand has the audacity to give you the crap is because you continuously choose to pay for that
yes,
brand and continuously
yes,
use it as a flex. So I
yes,
think the problem is both sides, the consumers and also the supplier,
correct.
right?
Yeah.
I
And
and I think
let's not forget that on the website it's actually really hard to even purchase this item because it's always sold out, right? But it's already listed what are the items that you will get from the box. So you're not completely surprised that you're getting stickers, you know what I mean? Like they clearly list out the items. So for
so
people to
then
get pissed over it seems a little
yeah.
bit, yeah,
So then is she just trying to be like like not
petty.
problematic, but like what's the word? Dramatic, like stirring up
Yes.
drama? Like
Yeah.
you clearly saw what was in there. You still paid for
Yeah.
it, and um
And yeah, but here's the thing. Chanel does need to get back down to earth, okay? Because their latest price increase of $1,000, making the classic Chanel flap bag, which I had, originally paid for it so many years ago for around 3K ish, is now you could get that bag for 8K today's
oh my
prices.
god.
I think that is ridiculous. First of all, what justifies them to think that people would want to fork out money, for the same bag that hasn't changed in years.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think that's ridiculous.
we can argue inflation. We can argue
Mm,
exclusivity. Is the
mm-hmm.
reason why they do that. I guess maybe. Okay, so look, if anyone has money and they want to spend it, I will never tell them how to spend their money, right? As long as
Mm-hmm.
your bills are paid for, you do a little bit of charity here and there, your kids are well taken care of, okay, cool. Spend however you like. I, I mean, obviously, I would have to say
I
that influencer culture has pushed a lot
Yes,
of people who can't afford these things but feel like they need
yes,
to afford these things. And I will have
yes.
to 100% admit that like I was a part of that problem too. Like I,
Mm-hmm.
was very into Prada, still very am, very
Mm-hmm.
into
Mm-hmm.
Valentino, YSL,
Mm-hmm.
all that. Still am. However, I haven't purchased any of those things for
Me
years now
neither.
because
Years.
because I can admire from afar.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't
for
need
me
to.
it was more about the ethical, because
Yes.
I don't buy like um animal product stuff, or at least I veer away from it more so.
Hmm.
So that was for me. My justification would be like for example, if I maybe get a second hand, then I think that's fine, because then at least it's not
Yeah.
going into like the
Yeah.
landfill, and I can
Yep.
still, appreciate the brand but still be like conscious, like, yeah, like conscious about those things. But yeah, like I haven't purchased a bag in years, and
Yeah.
I just think that it's ridiculous. Like I still love the bags that I currently own, and I would just keep
Of
them
course,
for
you
as
worked
long as
hard.
possible. Yeah,
Yeah.
and but like I'm never gonna try to justify like just owning something again. I honestly think there is a possibility, maybe a slight possibility, that Chanel is trying to compete with Hermes,
Hermes. Yep.
because Hermes Birkin is like, I don't know if it's still the same price, but back then it was like 10K for one freaking bag, you know?
Still
So I
ridiculous.
don't know. Weird. And like in Sex and the City, at the time, there was an episode that of Samantha wanting that Birkin bag. Do you remember that
Hmm.
episode?
Yeah. Yeah. And she was
But she,
waitlisted. Yeah.
yeah, she was waitlisted, but the price that was quoted in that episode was $4,000.
Oh,
So
what?
fast forward several years, it jumped up to 10K for that bag. So I honestly think that Chanel is trying to compete with Hermes and trying to get their prices to be that level.
You know, like, I think when I was, into, and I still am, into like luxury brand, it's more for like the historical context of it. And I think the
Yeah.
more I read into the history of certain brands and certain people who have their fingers on it, it makes me kind of go, ugh, a little bit too.
Yeah.
And it's that, how do you separate the person from the art and things like that. And I think I'm coming to that like ethical and moral conflict when it comes to buying things like that all the time, and by the time I
Mm-hmm.
have enough conversations in my head, I'm like, this is exhausting, I don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
But I think it's also like
Whiskey.
the whole, you buying secondhand is very it's admirable because for me, when I to claim that I'm into those things because of its historical aspect, then I should also want to buy it like vintage stuff, which I started doing instead.
Yes.
Because it's like, well,
Yes.
the vintage stuff actually has more historical
Yeah.
significance than like a brand new piece. So
Correct.
um but and again, it helps so much with the environment. The leather tanning industry is
Mm-hmm.
terrible for the environment, and in fact it's actually horrible for people who are tanning the leathers. Like the chemicals in that is just caustic stuff. um
Mm-hmm.
Chanel and Louis Vuitton has, one of the worst, reputations when it comes to how their leather are. And
Really?
yeah, and so it's just, just being mindful of those things and buying used. There's especially vintage items, like some of them are really beautiful and impeccably like taken care of, especially now that people are starting to purge a lot of their stuff because they can't afford it anymore.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think if you can afford it, I think every single woman should probably buy one nice luxury item for themselves. Their whole
Yeah.
entire life, at least one thing. And it doesn't have to be like in the thousands. It could be in the hundred as well. If they think that there's value in that quote unquote luxury item that they like, because it's relative, right? Um, then they should treat themselves, and I think that's also okay.
My my mom, like obviously we grew up like pretty frugal in a sense, and she's always one that, like, even to this day, I don't she doesn't need to be, but she still, like, is very frugal. And for her 60th birthday, I had convinced my siblings to buy her to pitch in and buy her a Louis Vuitton bag, the
Mm-hmm.
signature bag, because I think it's nice for her to be able to, like, carry something nice, and for all the hard work she's like taking care of us, etc. Um, Even though some of my siblings were complaining about it because they
Mm-hmm.
don't understand why purchasing this bag would make any sense besides having some type of clout. But for me, it's more about um, it's just to give her some face when she is around my other adult relatives, who do buy designer bags and who flaunt it, or like, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's something nice for her to carry and just be like, hey, she also has something like this to appreciate. And she uses that bag constantly
um
and she
okay, so
loves it. You know what I mean? So it's nice.
Not Andre. I'm I'm calling her by her name, but okay. So I
Yeah.
love design too, and the art behind it, and the creativity and style and evolution and all those things. So I'm so sad to
Yeah.
see when that they continue elevating prices in the sense that I
Yeah.
think it's absurd. Basically,
It
because I
is.
don't believe they pay fairly to all their creative employees and
Correct.
producers and everything. So to be
Yeah.
frank, I think they just raised the prices to be more exclusive. I agree. Show off their power
Yep.
and something like that to make the brands more desirable. 100% agree. I actually have friends who work in the fashion industry who work for some actually big names, and they would like have
Mm-hmm.
ideas and stuff. And of course, obviously, they get treated poorly. And
Mm-hmm.
then, of course, like the designers or one of the creative directors would be like, oh, they don't like it, but then they'll see it on the runway. Like it
Not
happens
cool.
all the time,
Not
and it
cool.
happens,
Yeah.
yeah, and it happens to like interns and stuff too. Oh, girl, I remember people. Come on, come on. Who do you think I am? My memory, and that is the reason why people don't want to do wrong to me because I will remember until the day I die.
Every
I'm
little
just kidding. I do
detail.
remember you because you're a very sweet person. That's why. um, but no, you know what though, you know how your sister was just like I don't want to get mom this because of the clout and saving face. Like the whole saving face culture is a whole different topic. It's another can of
Oh
worms.
yeah.
You know,
Oh yeah.
and it's
Mm-hmm.
toxic in the Asian community. Like it's very toxic,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But I think for you, it was an act of love that you want to
Yeah.
give to your mom. It didn't matter if it was a Louis Vuitton bag. It didn't matter if it was a cake. It didn't matter if it was a puppy. It was an act of love
Mm-hmm.
that you wanted to show her because you knew what she liked. And even if what
Yeah.
she liked was coming from like, is kind of toxic because she's going to use it for clout or to measure up with the wins or whatever. Um,
Yeah.
right? Like whatever, that's her gift. She can do what she want with it.
Yeah.
It's an act of
I mean,
love that
I
you're
did
sharing.
tell her, I was like, look, this is not just any bag, so don't put it on the floor. You know what I mean? So I was like, take care of it. So yeah, she's taking care of it. She like loves
It's
it.
cute.
It's still great to this day. Like, I didn't see like any type of bad marks or anything like that. So, and
Yeah.
it's the classic Louis Vuitton. So I think that she deserves it. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
I mean that's another topic altogether. I don't know if
Yeah.
my
No, no,
siblings think that she
I
deserves
agree.
all of it, but yeah.
Well, I mean, like my mom is really into luxury brand perfumes, and
Okay.
but she's only into the ones that her friends would recognize.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
so like the
See.
Chanel's, the Pradas, the YSL and
Yeah.
stuff. And then, so then one day she saw the one that I was using, which
Mm.
um, eh, it's Tom Ford, and
Yeah.
she's just like, "What is this?" And then I told her the price on it and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and she's just like, why would you spend so much on that? And I was like, just because you don't know the name of the brand, mom, doesn't mean that it's not valuable. And
Right.
then,
Right.
like, and I think it's that judgy factor that I do have a problem with. Like, I don't judge people for
Yeah.
how they, whatever, right? And
Yeah.
if she likes what she likes, then I want to gift her what she likes so that she feels that she's loved. But then
Yeah.
for her to turn around and be like, ew, why would you waste money on that? And I'm like, why would you waste money on your Chanel perfume, woman? I buy
Yeah,
one
right.
every 5 years. Calm down.
I know those. Honestly, those perfume last for a long time. So
And it wasn't even a big bottle. It was like this big. It was itsy
yeah, you know
bitsy.
what? Like
Because I didn't.
I've stopped. Yeah, like I stopped buying huge bottles because honestly, I just wear the one that I like, which I that would be a big bottle. But all the other ones are like kind of just off scent, one off scent, you know. So I would just buy
Yeah.
like the small one just to use every so often.
Yeah. And you know what? I think if it comes to luxury brands, I think perfume is one of those things um that if you want to treat yourself, and I think that's a good way to invest your money to get the brand
Yeah,
of something,
yeah,
like, your classic Chanel number 5 or whatever.
yeah.
I think because the cost of that is a little bit more low than like a handbag, right? Because we're talking
Right.
1 to 200, which is still expensive, mind you, but it's not thousands, right? And then you have
Mhm.
that bottle, and perfume don't go bad. It's like
Mhm.
wine; it kind of ages gracefully. There are like Chanel perfume bottles that are like 100 years old, and they're
Mhm.
going for like $10,000-$15 online.
Whoa.
Yeah, because it's just like a vintage wine or something, but it's like a
Oh
vintage
my
perfume, and
goodness.
it's kind of cool to see that, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, if that's something that someone wants to think about, then I think that's a good way to go. However, the $800 advent calendar, you might as well just buy 4 bottles of nice perfume for yourself instead of the advent calendar, and
Yeah.
getting, you know. But if you really have money and you want to throw it that way, then go ahead. That do what you want to do. But also, you saw what it looked like.
Yeah, right. Why
I
are
was
you
so
like complaining?
yeah, I was so confused when I saw that. I was like, "What? Yeah,
But
okay, is this what we're
yeah.
complaining
I mean,
about?"
we're kind of in that culture where it's the cancel culture, you know what I mean? So they're gonna have to
Yes.
just it's just another round of brands that, they want to cancel.
Yeah, and I think Chanel thinks that they have a type of clientele that doesn't do cancel culture,
Yeah.
and that's probably maybe why they're thinking that they are getting away with it, for
Yeah.
so long. But I think they're starting
We'll
to forget
see.
that, yeah, that there's young new money people coming in now with
Yeah.
influencer money, and they might change their tune a little bit, and in fact
Yeah.
it might cheapen the brand if this continues to keep happening.
Hmm.
So, okay,
Should we talk about
next
Sex and
story.
the City?
Yes.
Did you watch it? Because I haven't watched it, so I've been trying to not see too much spoilers, even though I did catch at least two spoilers.
No, I am actually going to start watching it during break because I finally am done with finals. So, um
Yay! Congratulations!
yeah, I'm done with
Time to
finals.
celebrate. Yeah, I'm gonna wait
Yeah.
until Sunday so I could watch it with Tony. But yeah, like everybody is up in arms, with the fact that Samantha, obviously is not in this latest 10 episodes of Just Like That. But the way that they talked about her leaving was apparently wasn't very good to a lot of people because they think that Samantha is a very loyal friend. There's no way
Yes.
that she would cut anybody out, and the fact that they did her dirty was not cool.
Oh.
So yeah, so that's the latest thing on Sex and the City, and I don't know. But then let's talk about also how much older they look this time around, and people even care, like Sarah Jessica Parker has gotten so much flack about her aging, gray hair and things like that when she went out to lunch with this other friend who was I forgot what his name was, but he was also very popular. He was also popular, and he has gray hair, but yet they didn't talk about his. They talked about her, and
Oh.
the fact about this whole and just like that was to embrace women aging. You know what I mean? Like, and seeing what they've been going through in this new, you know, new next step of their life kind of thing, like the older crowd.
Yeah. I mean, you know, women, the moment we start to like hit past the age of 25, it's like we're
Going
This,
downhill.
yeah, we're discarded. Like even in over in the east, it's just like, what was it, leftover women? What's that called? Leftover women,
Hmm.
where like if you haven't been married by the time you're 21, you're
Yeah.
leftovers, and no one wants you. It's just like, ew.
Yeah. It's that
And
type of
then
culture, which is terrible.
and even like, oh, if you're a single mother, like, forget about it. You're used, you're
Yep.
thrown away. Like, it's,
Yep.
ugh, you
Stale
know.
bread. But yet,
Yes,
what
like
about
all these
men? What about men?
horrible,
Like they go through
horrible.
the same type of like steps in our in their lifetime, and yet they don't get vilified the way women do in our stages.
Um, Actually, I don't. So, like, in Vietnamese culture, there is a phrase called, and this is towards men, which I'm glad that it exists, even though there's a lot more
Really?
idioms like towards women. This one
Uh-huh.
is, and this is the reason why I've never ended up dating old men, because of this particular phrase. I don't know if you've heard it, but it's old ox eating new grass.
No,
You've
but I
never
kind
heard
of
of it?
understand. No.
But you understand what I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
kind of,
Yes.
it's a little crass in the way it's structured, but it's basically like an old man just always trying to date young girls. And so ever since I've heard that phrase as a kid, I was just like, ugh, I don't want to date an old guy. Like, it's already
How
set in my. Go
how
ahead.
old is old to you?
Right now, I'm like mid 30s. So to me, right now, like, too old would be anything that my dad is, right?
Yes,
So
too
anyone
old.
that's my dad's age or like older than him, I think that would be weird. Even though Brad Pitt is my dad's age, and it's messing with my head. It's messing with my
to
brain. I can't do it.
to to me, I've always, not that I wanted to, but I've dated guys 2 years younger than me, because I always feel as if like I mean, they just come to me, so it's not like I choose them. And I just think like it's because of my probably young personality that I'm like very, energetic and hyper, etc. Up to, like, those kind of things, that I think that's why younger guys tend to go towards me. But
Yeah.
lately, I've opened up my, when I was on the app and everything, I had increased my age limit to like 44 or something like that, like
Stop
just
being.
so I could, I know, just a tad, like a few years older. And so then, like, Tony found me, and like, and that was great because I increased that gap. But like before, I kept it either my age or younger, and
Yeah.
I do think that there is something to that, where at least the guys who have gone through different life stages, and they've gone through the further life stages, that they have a lot more patience,
Yeah.
and that they know how to take care of themselves, and they're like, they don't need, another mommy kind of like situation. So I do appreciate that a lot.
Well, I mean, if you haven't been through some then you don't really know how to adult, right? I think that's
Correct.
right. Like, if you've always had a perfect life all the time, uh, that's not really adulting. Adulting is about, solving problems, being scrappy, figuring out, why this and that, going to therapy, trying to better yourself. And so if you've never been through those things, which is the case with a lot of 20, 30s people,
Hmm.
so yeah, I think, like, now that I'm in my mid 30s, like, men in their 40s are looking pretty good. And it's it's only because it's men in their 40s, are they're also in my generation, right? Like, if I was in my
Uh-huh.
20s then looking at men in their 40s, which is my dad's generation, they all look really,
They can't.
not old,
The
but like not my taste,
but they also, for me, even increasing my age limit, like there are some guys who do not take care of themselves well. Okay, so for me, the guy that I want to date would have to look decent, for being their age. So yeah, like if they're gonna look a lot like 10 years older than me, then I'm sorry, I can't do that.
Yeah, but see that it goes to show like that's our ageism too. It's like we're pretty much like
Yeah, no,
expressing the
it's
same thing
true.
where we're going against we're like going against and it's because it's
Well, it's also what
so
you're attracted
ingrained.
to. It's
Yeah,
what you're
yeah,
attracted to. Like I think that's the first and foremost. I've
yeah.
always just been attracted to more Asians, less Caucasian or any other ethnicity. I've just always been, like that was my preference. So
Yeah. But I think, yeah, but it's interesting because like we're expressing it, we're just like, people are so ageist, and we're like, I don't want to date anyone that looks like an old gremlin.
right? Because
But
imagine you're gonna grow old with them together, and they're gonna look so much older.
that's
It's just
well,
not balanced,
it's not even the look. It's like life's. You do want to grow old with someone and share
right?
life together, and you can't really do that if one passes away before you. you
That's
know,
terrible.
I no, it's true. Like I can't
It
date
is
anyone.
true.
It's true. If I date someone, or if I marry someone who's in their 50s now, by the time I
Yeah,
turn 50, they'll be in their 70s. Which
yeah.
okay, maybe if they have taken care of themselves, worked out, ate well, then they could be a snappy 70. Then I'm fine too, right? Kind of like I'm a snappy 30 right now. It's fine,
Right.
but the thing is that that's not the case because a lot of us.
Yeah.
I mean, has it not been proven that quarantine 15 was a huge thing that was trending? you know,
Yes. Yes.
so there's just that food for thought. See, Bunny says totally advent calendars should have a promotional price or something. I agree. I definitely agree.
Yeah.
I mean, they are holidays related, so where is the Christmas love?
Right?
Wash hands. That's funny. I'm
Right.
so shocked they were not Photoshop. I'm kind of happy about that. I think people are surprised they look old because old
Yes.
women are usually
Older.
fixed onto. I agree. I agree. And
Well,
and what?
technically, if you've seen any of like the photos, because there was a few of previews I saw that Charlotte, I forgot Kristen, what was her last name?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I know.
she she has gotten too many fillers in her face that she doesn't look as aging as gracefully. So that you can see. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if the other two have any type of fillers, but I feel like Charlotte was very obvious that she has
Okay.
used some. um yeah, I mean, not to
To
like
each their own.
say
Yeah.
any, yeah, to each their own, but for me, if I were to use Botox or fillers or things like that, I would want it to be at least natural looking
Yeah.
and not to be like too much. But I also heard that it's very slippery slope, because it's like once you
Yes.
get into that, like once you get into that, it's like it's hard to stop.
Yes.
And like I guess if you have the money, like go for it. For me, I would think I'm like trying to delay that as much as possible. Like I
Well,
don't. I feel like I don't.
you also have like impeccable skin.
I mean,
That's
for the most part, I try to keep up with my skincare routine. Like as long as I moisturize my face, as long as the only thing that I'm not getting as much as I wish I could is like more sleep. Because first of all, I have foster kittens and I let them out of the bathroom. So last night they were like running all over the place. I don't know, they're kittens, so they have a lot of that energy. But I could not get a good sleep last night. So I'm definitely having some struggle with at least bags under my eyes, which obviously is not very good.
and hydrating. You're bad at drinking water too.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah,
that
no,
for
it's
sure.
true. It's true.
I've seen
I've
her
been
go
doing
2 days
better.
without. I've seen you go like
No,
2 days
no.
without water before, and I'm like, what the heck?
No. I do keep a thermos by my bed, and I have
Good.
I like cold water, so I
Yeah.
have an ice maker upstairs in my loft area. So now
Oh.
I'm able to at least drink a lot more because I have ice water readily available.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's you know, you can age however you need to age. I do think that there is we do push the whole don't age more on women than we do men.
Yeah.
So that's a
But like
problem.
us,
But
yeah. Stay out of the sun, you guys. Stay out of the
but
sun. That's the
that's
only way
not
that you can age gracefully.
yeah, that's not even aging. That's just a straight up like take care of your health thing because skin
Yes,
cancer is a thing.
it is
Um,
a thing.
So definitely take care of that. You don't want any other extra skin issues when you get older, as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously drink your water, exercise,
Yep.
get some sleep, which I'm bad at too. But
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I think we need to. Here's the thing. This is the thing. If we are going to be hard on women about the way they look when they age,
Mm-hmm.
we need to express that same energy towards men. I'm all for
Yep.
equality here. Like, I
Yep.
am willing to call out a guy if
Totally.
he's, doesn't have enough hair or has the dad bod or whatever. Like, let's share that same energy. But if we're
Yeah.
gonna, be not that, if we're gonna be like, okay, it's fine if he looks like that, but as long as he has money, we should be okay with it's fine if she looks like that if she has money. Like, I think it needs to be fair somewhere. It's
I
just not a lot
agree.
of it is for
I
women.
totally agree.
Um,
Yep.
which I don't know. I'm looking forward to being in my 40s and 50s. I feel like I'm aging into my personality,
Yeah.
where I'm like, yeah, like I've always felt like an old lady ever since I can remember. Whatever old is, yeah, like the trope of like
No, just
an
like
old.
mature for your age kind of
No,
thing.
I don't think that's the case. I just think it's like, I don't know. Maybe it's an introvert thing or
Could
whatever, but
be.
I don't know. I'm more comfortable getting older than I am when I was younger. I think that's what it
Yeah.
is. um she says, yes, hold it
Let's
both
judge both
way,
ways,
or
right?
neither. Exactly, we're gonna keep that energy the
Correct.
same, yeah, on both spectrum. um
Yes. Agree.
but yeah, it's like, but that's the thing too, because I would see memes of like dad bods, and they're like, oh, I love a dad bod because it shows that he's a good father, blah blah blah. But like when you talk about mom bods, it's like, she has a mom bod, like it's not,
Right?
you think of like the unattractive, and I was like, no, let's keep that energy both ways. Either they're both attractive or both of them are not that I'm saying that
And
both of them
how
are not is
about
okay.
the fact that there are dad bods and they did nothing to like nothing strenuous to get that dad bod, but yet the women have to go through childbirth, labor and all that stuff, and have to have that mentality of trying to snatch back to how they were before.
Look,
Like,
Papa Bear
come
is
on,
gonna tell you
come
that he
on.
went through some stuff while I was pregnant. He had sympathy
Yeah, well,
cravings. He
come
had sympathy
on.
cramps. He will
He
tell
still did
you.
not get his hoo-ha ripped apart, okay? So
He will tell you he struggled.
let's not go there. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It is not the same thing.
Yeah,
I know I didn't
sympathy.
experience any of that, but I've definitely heard stories and it's not the same thing.
No, it's definitely not. But he has to explain his dad bod to so
Nope,
somehow.
I'm sorry. He does not get that get out of that car, get out of that car jail. Like, no.
Either way, parent bod in general, look, I'm not, your bod is your body. I think at the end of the day, it has to be, even the body positivity movement kind of like triggers me too, because it's like, you're
Yeah.
saying body positivity, but you're still judging other people's
Yeah.
body. And it's like, we can't do that. It's whatever body you have, if you are genuinely like, I am happy in this body, I am grateful for this vessel that I have, that I can walk through life
Mm-hmm.
in, to carry my soul and my energy, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what it looks like at that point. If that's what you truly feel, good for you. Now, if you feel like, look, this is my body, there are things about it I'm not happy with, like my weight. I want to go work out for it so I can feel better, so I can carry this vessel for a longer length of time. Good for you. I commend that as well. Now, if you're in a
Mm-hmm.
body that you're not happy about, but instead of doing something, you go,
Yes.
your body is wrong because it makes
Yeah.
me feel unhappy. That is
Yeah.
a problem,
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
so I think that's kind of like our little
Yep.
lecture there. However, we are always going to be one of those people that are like, hey, get your steps in, drink your
Yep.
water, moisturize your face,
Yes. Wear
wear
sunscreen.
sunscreen, And I think that's just basic healthcare,
Yeah.
to be honest. But
So
somehow,
basic.
yeah,
Honestly,
somehow
like
we
I didn't
forgot
start,
that.
yeah, I mean, I didn't start my skincare, really getting into skincare until I was 25. So, but it's definitely never too late. It's always nice to just be able to like start as young as you could. But yeah,
Hmm.
but if anything, just moisturize and wear sunscreen. That's all you need.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's all about living a longer, happier, more fulfilled life too. But
Yes.
I think those are our stories
Yep.
for today in our little chat. Um, I just
Glad
had
you
a
guys
brain
were able
fart.
to join us.
Yeah, I had a brain fart there. Thank you so much for joining. If you guys have any stories that you want us to talk about,
Yeah.
definitely message us on Instagrams and stuff. We like that. And
Mm-hmm.
leave comments if you want to. Subscribe if you feel like it. I need to eat lunch. My brain is like brain dead.
Follow if you want
Oh
to.
yeah, yeah, all that stuff. And if
But
you
yeah,
buy the Chanel Advent calendar, please let us
just
know.
keep in mind, yeah, keep in mind it's not gonna be everything that it's not gonna be value driven. You know what I mean? It is definitely more brand name driven.
Yeah, I've seen so many brands do it too. Like Joe Malone, they have a pretty decent one with all their scents and stuff too.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. But I don't know. I don't think I could
yeah.
ever get into buying an advent calendar. I got one for Grudy, and it
No,
was
I
like,
don't like.
yeah, I don't like the surprise. That's what it is. I don't like the surprise. I need to know what I'm getting. You know.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah. No. I mean, I got Grudy a little advent calendar, but it's like $5, and it's like full of tiny little like unicorn accessories and hair clips and stuff. So she'll
yeah,
open it every morning, and it's so cute. Like, and it'll be like a little unicorn hair clip, and she's like, "I like this," and she'll put it in her hair and wear it for the day, and tell everyone that it came from her Santa
nice.
calendar. And I think
Oh,
that's cute for kids, but I need to know what's coming and how much was spent
no,
on
I
it.
agree.
You know.
I agree.
All right.
All right,
I think
guys.
that's it. Thank you so much
Hope
for
you enjoyed
watching.
this.
Thank you, Andrea and Bunny. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Ashley, even though she left already, and anyone else that joined and we didn't catch in the chat. You guys have a great weekend. Take care. Stay warm out there. Bye bye.
Bye.